From the keyboard to the boardroom, this is the business of esports. From the keyboard to the boardroom, this is the Business of Esports podcast. I am Paul Dewalibi. I'm joined today by my friend and co-host, Jimmy Barada. For those of you who are new to the podcast, welcome to the official podcast of esports. What we do here is we cover the most pressing gaming and esports topics and news of the week, but we look at all of it through a business and C-suite lens. We dissect, we analyze the business implications of everything happening in this industry. For our regular listeners, thank you guys for tuning in every week. Thank you for all the love, the 5-star ratings and reviews. If you haven't already, please go leave a review. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, wherever, Stitcher, wherever you listen to your podcast, wherever you get this podcast, go leave a review. It really helps others to find the podcast. And just share it directly with your friends. Like send an episode or two to your friends, your colleagues. This is how we grow, and we really appreciate you guys doing that. Jimmy, how you doing this week?
Well, great to be here, Paul, and happy holidays to all of our listeners. This is officially the mid-holiday season episode in between Christmas and New Year's, and yep. we're hard at work, and I'm happy to be here and just had a great holiday break, and I hope everyone listening does too.
Little business lesson here, freebie for everyone. Everyone thinks this is the slowest time of year. This is our best traffic week ever. Like literally ever this week, which I think is so cool. But, everyone thinks it's the time of year you should be like taking off and relaxing. I don't know what that's all about.
I think it just, goes to show when you have that free time away from work, all they want to do is listen to our insights and our analysis. So I'm taking it as a big win.
I love, Jimmy, that for those watching and not listening, Jimmy's repping the Business of Esports hoodie. Good reminder to go to businessofesports.shop and pick up a Business of Esports hoodie. But I was actually, it's funny, the hoodie is kind of apropos in the sense that I was trying to find like a really good New Year Christmas present for you, right, to show my appreciation. And so I've been trying to track down this Fortnite Balenciaga hoodie, and I had forgotten if you actually bought it or not.
Yeah, I definitely overpaid on that one, but I did get my hands on one, and that's way too expensive of a gift. So I'm glad I beat you to it. But technically, you sent me this hoodie, this BOE hoodie. This came from from our store wares. Big shout out to Elena. Thank you for mailing that out to me. And so that you already got me this. So big win.
I will say the resale value on those hoodies is extraordinary. Like, no wonder people are scalping them. And I don't fully get it, because it literally is just a black logo. Not even, it's literally just Fortnite written on a white hoodie. I'm amazed at the demand for it. Like, I went on StockX, and the price that these things are going for are just obscene.
Yeah, I'm looking for the hats now, and those are even like $500. It's just outrageous. It's why would you pay that for a hat that's gonna get smelly and worn out? No, I'm with you. It's one of those things, but I don't know. I think when you appreciate fashion, when you appreciate the games, and when you have no children, it's a dangerous combination. So things might be different in a few years.
So I'm reaching out to our Business of Esports audience, our listeners. I need new ideas for gifts for the one and only Jimmy Barada. There you go.
I'll take a Bored Ape Yacht Club if you're interested.
Don't worry. I'll right click Save As and send it to your email. Which is also a great reminder for everyone to subscribe to the Meta Business Podcast. If you want to hear about more Metaverse news, NFTs, blockchain-based gaming, crypto, definitely go subscribe to that. I co-host that with none other than Jeff the Juice Cohen, and it's a lot of fun. So Actually, that's a great idea, Jimmy. I'm going to send you a whole bunch of NFTs. I mean, it'll be copies of them, but it doesn't matter, right? It's all the same.
Yeah. Yeah. What is blockchain anyways? That's not proof. It's just a fancy
Yeah.
term. It's a $5 word.
It'll be on your hard drive the same as any other. All right. So, um, look, I don't want to take too much time. We do have an amazing guest on the show today. Um, and I'm going to introduce him in a second here. We have none other than Yevgen Vershynin, who is the COO of a company called 27 Nerds. Yevgen, welcome to the Business of Esports podcast.
Hello, thank you. I'm really happy to join you today.
Yevgen, I'd love for our audience who maybe don't know about you, don't know about 27 Nerds, I'd love for you to give a bit of your background, like how you got into gaming and esports. What was the interest? What was the moment where you decided you wanted to be in this industry? And also just some of, what 27 Nerds does, to maybe talk about the business. Because I think it's a cool name. I'd love to understand why 27 also. Maybe that's my first question. Why 27 Nerds and not 28?
Gotcha. Okay. I will jump in with first answer about 27 years and why it's 27. Actually, it's a tricky name and tricky question about 27. Everybody is asking about that. But it's a number which came to mind one of our founders during the time when company was starting, and just two co-founders was thinking about what the name will be, and one of the co-founder told, "Okay, I like 27 because it's a really nice number and it's good one." And another story about 27, it's because company started with two co-founders and 7 engineers.
Hmm. Interesting.
So
Okay.
yeah, it's like two stories about this number.
I think that second explanation is better yet again. Than just liking the number. That's not a good reason to name the company after it.
Yeah, it is. It is. So that's why two co-founders and 7 engineers, and nerds
Cool.
because we are software engineers and really like gaming.
Cool. Sorry, I got you off on a tangent here. We'd love to hear your background and sort of what 27 Nerds does.
Yeah, sure. My background in engineering, in software engineering for almost 15 years. So I've been working with different companies in entertainment, in a little bit of financial banking domain, and like last 2 years I'm working with 27 nerds in gaming and esports software development. So we are in it, and we just started like 2 years, 2.5 years ago, with this idea that we are focusing on esports and gaming and would like to work in this area, would like to work with companies and build software, build products in this domain. So our main focus is esports and gaming and software development for different types of companies in this domain. Right now, we're working with such companies like esport teams, like several products which is connected with for data and statistics in esports and in gaming. So we're working with several products which is connected to game statistics. We're broadening up like a lot of information from the game data, providing like additional statistics on player performance, on game performance, on team performance, on tournament stages, on like specific data which we can get directly from the game data, from the playing game data, from everywhere we can imagine that. So we're also working with software for streamers and helping to provide like real-time game data directly to a stream with specific plugins to OBS or Vimeo solutions. We're also building some marketing products for different companies in esports and gaming, and helping them to bring some data, some interaction, some interactivity with and activations, like sometimes brand activations with fans, like fan engagement solutions during the game, during the match, during the stream, or afterwards. This is the
Ye-
main focus of our software right now.
Yevgen, it's interesting. I'm curious on two things. One, like what was the moment, as software developers, and it sounds like most of the company is like engineers and software developers, right?
Yeah.
Um, as software developers, as engineers, that there's a lot of demand for this in a million other industries. What was the sort of the moment, or what was part of the decision making, so to sort of say, hey, we really want to focus on gaming and esports. This is where we want to build products. And what was that thing that helped you make that decision?
It was a moment that that we have. Let me think. How I would like to describe this moment is we have pretty much experience in software development and engineering. Co-founders, like our management team, our main core team of software engineers, was pretty capable of building of anything. And we start to think, okay, we can build anything in any domain, which domain we would like to choose, for example. And most of the team told, okay, we still like gaming. We are playing Dota 2 and Counter Strike every day, and we would like to make our passion our work day, like do what we love. So so we decide, okay, we need to move on to esports because we've been watching esport games. We are following our teams for like last 10 years, and we would like to move on, to go ahead and do it.
And then the second question I have, Yevgen, is like the products that you guys have built. Was did this come from sort of you guys had these ideas in your head and you said we'll go build it and then we'll go find customers for this, or was it really teams that came to you, or different companies, or players in the gaming space that came to you and said, hey, can you guys help us build this, or can you build this for us? And that's where those products came from. Like what was the genesis of those products, right? Where were they born from? Was it born from sort of ideas you guys had in your own head, or was it born from a customer essentially who came to you and asked you to build it for them?
Yeah, first products that came from still from customers. So we are still working as a service providers, as a team building some ideas from customers, some products from customers. And customers told us, okay, we would like to build something like that in this domain, is in this area. What you can suggest, or what ideas can come to your mind, or we have this idea and let's develop it together.
Yeah.
And right now we're starting to bring our own ideas, but it will be, I think, in 2022. We have several of them, but we are just preparing them and polishing them.
So, what are some of these ideas, if you can share with us, to give, we've spoken as to general concepts, I think, and motivations, but if you have any specifics to help our listeners better understand, anything that you're capable of sharing at this time.
Yeah, I'll just add that if you can't talk to specific ideas, Yevgen, that maybe, it'd be interesting to understand the themes, or like where you see the most opportunity in the space from a product or service perspective, right? Like where do you think there's big opportunity right now from a software development standpoint?
Sure. Yes, I will just jump in. So there's a big opportunity in streaming, gaming slash ad uh, area, and we've been working with a couple of products in this area where we've been creating kind of ad spaces, and we've been managing these ad spaces from one point automatically for the streamers. So it's new business, and it start growing, and it's growing up rapidly, with Facebook gaming, with YouTube streaming, with Twitch streaming, where there's a lot of streamers, a lot of influencers, and there is actual space which is selling. And from our engineer standpoint, we're able to automate it, and to connect it to a different sources of ads, of ad exchanges, and to make the spaces available for brands and companies. It's one of the areas which is really popular right now.
So more like a marketplace connecting streamers and advertisers, but where you're filling ad space in and around the streamers, I assume, like in their overlay or whatever, where you can automatically fill that ad space for them, and it's just automatic revenue for them. Is
Yeah,
that
that's
fair?
right. Yeah, that's fair. Yes, we have pretty right now. We have simpler solution for private companies who have their own private contracts with streamers, who are doing like ads for them, but it could be automated and scaled.
Eh,
And
Sorry, go
are
ahead,
those
Jimmy.
ads optimized for, I think you said OBS? Where do you integrate your software? I mean, is it just a plugin, or um, can you speak to the technical aspect, I suppose, of how a creator would use your product, regardless if they're using the Twitch streaming platform, or any other?
Yeah, actually, right now we're integrating it with OBS overlay. Actually, it could be any overlay. It's not OBS. It's overlay with web application. So it's web link overlay, and this web link will be managed by our software. So each creator will receive his own unique link, and creator will be able to place this link as a layer to his OBS setup or any other software setup, and place it wherever he would like to on a screen, and this place will be managed automatically for him.
Yevgen, can we switch sort of topics for a second? You're based out of Ukraine, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
One of the things I've noticed, at least in talking to a lot of people, having met a lot of people in the space, obviously, it seems to me that there's a definite concentration and nexus of software developers building stuff in and around gaming and esports in Ukraine, in Russia, right? Call it in Eastern Europe broadly.
Yep.
Um, why do you think that is? Like, what is it about the environment there, or the geography there, or like, is it just everyone grew up with Counter Strike? Like, I'm curious, what do you think it is that creates sort of this nexus of development talent in that part of the world?
Yeah, that's right. Actually, it is. It is. Here in Ukraine, in Eastern Europe, we have a lot of engineers, and we have like this whole culture of engineering culture, and growing engineers here, and provide more and more engineer opportunity capabilities here. First of all, it's we have strong background for engineering. We have good universities, and we have right now a lot of engineers who are ready to teach new engineers in this software development area. So we have in Ukraine, we have a lot of engineers who are working on different projects across the globe, with United States, with Scandinavian, with UK companies, everywhere. It's partially it's geographically, partially it's historically, partially it's because we have strong engineers who can do the coding, the software engineering, good, stable, and with high quality.
But it seems very
It's it
specific
started
even to
it started
gaming and
in 2000.
esports.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for gaming
Like,
esports, it's the
why so
same.
much just around gaming and esports?
Once we are talking about gaming and esports, it's a part of software engineering industry. So gaming esports is still software engineering, and once you need software engineers, especially in gaming esports, because it's still not really simple solutions, because you need to get to a lot of different SDKs and APIs and get the data, merge the data, process the data, and do something with it and show it to people, to users, to fans. So that's why you need high quality engineers. High quality engineers are here in Eastern Europe. They are not really as high pricey as in United States, for example, but they're capable to do high quality and sophisticated solutions.
And
I think.
Yevgen, sorry,
Oh,
Jimmy, I just want
Paul,
one quick follow up
go for it.
from just on the same geography question, which is like, where do you see most of the opportunities that are coming to you? Where are they coming from? Is it a lot of US companies reaching out, asking you guys to build things for them in the gaming space? Is it mostly European companies? Like, where is a lot of the opportunity that's coming to you? Where is it coming from?
There's a couple of companies are from United States, and there is Asia. Asia,
Okay.
Japan is very interesting to work with us to build esports solutions.
So
Gaming.
I'd love to follow up actually on that and kind of merge the question I had in mind, because you'd mentioned, for example, the culture behind the engineering boom, so to speak, in the Ukraine and in Eastern Europe in general. And then when you mentioned just now that Asia is also a big market for your business, I'm curious economically how you price, how competitive your pricing is for the services that you offer. I think a lot of us here in America have a Western way of thinking, and outsourcing is nothing new, but it's always a balance, right? Trying to find skill and trying to find something of quality, and then trying to find something that fits a budget. So I'm curious, I suppose the budgets or the economics that you guys offer that combine with the skill element that you just spoke to, if that's hopefully not too vague and you can speak to that.
Actually, about the budgeting and question. So actually, we're still working on a global market, and right now prices in Eastern Europe are pretty high, and they are very close to United States prices. So it will be maybe a bit less, but not much. So it's pretty similar as Europe. Eastern Europe is a little bit cheap, but if you compare engineer from Spain and engineer from Ukraine, engineer from Ukraine will be much more skilled, and this matters.
Yevgen, before I move on to a totally different topic, I just have one last question, sort of in this line of
Sure.
thinking. I know there's a lot of startups and founders who listen to our podcast, right? There's a lot of people who are building or looking to build stuff in the gaming space that listen to the podcast. Um, what is like the number one reason that they should outsource software development to, or at least some of it, to a company like you're like yours, versus try and hire engineers locally or in-house, essentially? Like what is the one big benefit in your mind of working with 27 nerds?
First of all, main benefit it's expertise. We know game data, we know gaming and esports, and we can start fast. So we don't need to learn a lot of game data, where to get data, how to process it, or explain to us what is gaming or esports, what is matches structure, what's game structure, and that's questions. If you hire a local engineer or somewhere else engineer, he will be good engineer, but he need to grow up as a gaming esports expert. to understand all the differences which we have in esports and gaming.
I think that's a great answer, Yevgen. Let's fast forward 5 years, let's say, right? Like
Yeah.
on your website, you talk about desktop and mobile. Like there's a bunch of interesting examples on your own website, 27n.gg, of some of the projects and products and things that you guys have done and are working on, I assume. But if we fast forward 5 years, one of the conversations we have time and time again on this podcast is, where does mobile fit in the future of esports? And how important is it to the future of esports? When you look at your own business, right, 5 years from today, how big will mobile software development be in your mind versus developing for web or desktop? Like, do you think mobile is going to be 80% of your business, 20% of your business, right? Like, where will mobile fit in the grand scheme of things 5 years from today?
Yeah, you're right. Actually, we are constantly building solutions for mobile. So we are building, like, if we are building a web application, it automatically goes with mobile version, with mobile adaptation, with mobile option, and that thing. So mobile goes very high right now. So in 5 years, I would say it's from 70 till 90%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because in esports, especially with mobile gaming, with everything fast as everything goes like on a cell phone, we need to build mobile first solutions too. So I
And,
think
and,
in 5 years, it's absolutely 85%.
and you think most of that will come from Asia, or do you think we're going to start seeing a big sort of influx of the demand for this kind of service from you guys coming from the US, for example?
I think it's starting from Asia right now, but I think in 5 years it will be all over the world. It will be
Interesting.
South America. It will be United States, Europe, Scandinavian, all over. Africa is also a huge market.
Yevgen, I have a question about esports teams. Again, I like coming back to sort of themes that we have over and over on the podcast. And I know you guys have worked with some esports teams. I'm curious, what do you think? Like, you have this interesting point of view in that some of these teams come to you and ask you to build stuff for them. A lot of times it's around data, right? Analytics, data, that kind of thing. What do you think a lot of the teams need to know but don't do it today? Like, meaning what's the data and analytics sort of product that you think every esports team in the world would benefit from, but almost none of them are using that today?
Actually, it's an interesting question, and yeah, and esport teams right now are focusing, as from my standpoint, is focusing on collaboration, on companies, on marketing contracts, and it's first focus for them, and second focus it's actual team development, players development, athlete development. And I think in near future the focus will be shifting, so or maybe growing on both sides, on marketing side and on like athlete development side. Athlete development side is need to be developed and grown. And here we go. We step in with data, with analytics, with some coaching solutions, and that thing.
It's
And
interesting you say that. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, and I was talking about that. And once this is developed, we will move back to marketing and ad space again, because there will be higher demand on that, and some automation tools will be required.
So you think fundamentally most of these teams can be far more competitive if they just had the right data? Is like, do you think there's still a big data gap for the teams?
Uh, you know, um, Not really. Right now, teams still have good data to make analytics of their game, but I think it will be next step. Next step for teams, for athletes, to develop their skills, to develop their game.
So where, what bit of a sort of another topic here, but where do you think are the toughest software problems in the gaming and esports industry? One of the things we talk about here and also on the new Meta Business podcast, which we launched, which everyone should go follow. Um, One of the big things we talk about is like this metaverse future that everyone's talking about, right? It feels to me that there's still a lot of software development that hasn't happened yet, a lot of technologies that don't exist yet to make that metaverse future a reality. From your perspective, I'm curious, what do you think are the toughest technology problems that still exist in the gaming world today to get us to sort of the future that everyone is imagining?
Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting question. A lot of different things are already done and already created. Open world applications, games, and for metaverse, we still need some hardware to connect to the metaverse. I would say so. Right now, we have a lot of things are connected together. We still need to build some more hardware. I would say so, more processing power to handle all of that data or all of those graphics, everything which is connected to metaverse, all of the rendering, all of the connection, of the high speed interaction, and all of that. And I think there's another hardware boom. It's like a swing. First, it's like software, and once we have huge software, everything is built on the software level. The swing will go to hardware, and once hardware will be on the toppest level, and that swing will go back to software. Looks like it's a swing, and we're going to hardware era once again.
No, I love the answer. So
Yeah,
I mean, how
that's
do
such
you
a
compare?
cool thought.
How do you compare that, or how do you had mentioned the massive trend towards mobile, but obviously hardware kind of favoring PC, I suppose. And how would you factor that in, I suppose, to your answer and to your vision and your understanding of the future of the metaverse? With so many mobile users, are they going to access through perhaps a limited experience, or do you think hardware is going to become that advanced that even our mobile devices are going to have that type of power and ability?
I think that hardware devices will have this ability to connect to metaverse somehow. Even we don't know how, because there are several options, and we don't know which one will go on. But looks like for me is that we're still on a peak with the hardware we have right now, but it's not enough. It's not enough to connect to metaverse, to do the metaverse. So that's why we need new hardware solutions, applications, wherever, devices to open the metaverse for people and fans.
Yevgen, how do you guys think about game development, like or blockchain based games, or just normal games, or you know, um, is it something that you guys would ever do? Is it something that's in the back of your minds, being that you're engineers, talented engineers, and you're all big gamers, right? Like, I'm curious because we're seeing this explosion in the market of small game development studios popping up. I think what I love about what you guys are doing is there's this big focus on more infrastructure, right? On sort of
Yeah.
tools and plumbing and the infrastructure layer of gaming and esports. But is game development something that you see opportunity that you might ever go to? Like if a client came to you and said, "Hey, could you build this for us?" and it was a game, is it something that you would ever consider? Or is it, you think, two completely different skill sets?
Right now we do not have game development, and from my standpoint, is two different skill sets. We might go there, but we need to develop a next layer of skill set, of skills of engineers to build games, to build even small games, even blockchain NFT games. There is still gaming, and you need to have game designer, game engineers, graphic designers, world designers to build the game. We are a little bit in different area right now. We're mostly focusing on infrastructure things or bringing the data back to the users, to fans.
And so like when if you're talking directly to our audience here, like of all the people in our audience, like what's the one type of customer that you think should absolutely be talking to you, right? Like that has the greatest need for your service. Is it the heads of the leaders of the esports teams? Is it, brands? Is it what is the type of customer that benefits the most from, working with the 27 nerds?
The best one is a esports product company, esports product, or even startup who would like to build something new, and we have expertise where we can support it.
In that context, is there a model like do you guys partner? Is there a model where you take equity? I'm curious just a little bit about the business model. Like, would you ever go and partner with a company and maybe own the product jointly, or is it very much your mercenaries? You get paid to write really good code and then you go away.
Right now we're working with a second option. Mostly we got paid to build it, but we might think and talk.
Okay. Jimmy, I don't know if you have any other questions.
I think we should get to everyone's new favorite section. I'm excited for it.
I was going to say, I think it is everyone's favorite new segment. I mean, you're a little bit biased because it's your segment, but
I think I'm a fair and impartial ruler. And
I mean, if we're calling you the honorable Judge Jimmy Barada, you better be a little bit impartial. But we've got Judge Jimmy's cross-examination, and for those of you who are maybe listening to the podcast for the first time, I know there's always some of you. Jimmy is going to go ahead and ask Yevgen, our guest this week, 5 or 6 questions, mostly unrelated to gaming and esports, to give you a bit of the sense of Yevgen's sort of background, who he is as a person. So it's not business or esports related for the most part, and it's a lot of fun. Judge Jimmy, go ahead.
All right, just a few quick questions here, Yevgen, and we'll have you on your way.
Yep.
First, what is your favorite video game?
Right now I'm playing Brawl Stars.
Brawl Stars, good one. Good game. And for those listening, we had Chief Pat and the Tribe Gaming folks on a while ago, Pat being their CEO and one of their content creators. And I know they have some great Brawl Stars creators there. So take a listen to that episode if you're also a fan like Yevgen. Shameless plug, had to do it. All right, Yevgen, what is your favorite type of food?
Type of food? It's an interesting question. I like different food. I like try new tastes, new styles. So right now is Asian.
Good stuff. Let's see.
That's where
here.
most of your customers are coming from. That's convenient.
Yeah,
let's see. Where do you hope for your company to be in 5 years?
Where? I hope we will have couple of teams, couple of products, our own products, and we will work with top 1 brands and top 1 teams in the world.
Worldwide growth and to the top.
Yeah.
I hope that for you too. Let's go with our last question here. If you could go back to school, what class would you choose to take, or what would you choose to learn?
Hmm. You know, in school, if I go back, I would start with history.
Hmm.
I'm also a
Yes.
history buff. I like that.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yevgen, why? I'm curious. Why history? Just interest, passion.
You know, interest, passion. I like history and geography. I have good knowledge in math and physics. So I'm thinking that history, geography might be a good fit.
Great answer.
It is. Paul, prosecution rests. Back to you.
Yevgen, I love it. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. If you want to be found or followed, where can people find you, follow you, find 27 Nerds? Like, how can they reach you?
You know, the best way is through LinkedIn. LinkedIn page, my own personal profile. It's the best way to get connected.
Cool. And I will say your website is 27n, like nerds.gg, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Very good. Yevgen, thank you so much for being on the podcast. For our listeners, just a couple quick notes. Every Wednesday evening, we do a live stream. It's all the news that we don't do on the podcast, not on the interview show anymore. And it's a lot of fun. We get to do it live with you guys. It's a big cast. And you get to ask questions, challenge us, get in our faces. It's every Wednesday evening, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. It's a lot of fun. So much business of esports news, business of gaming news, and we cover all of it in that live stream. So make sure to come, bring a friend, bring your family, bring your colleagues. Also, if you haven't already, follow us on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok. We put out content every single day, multiple times a day, guys. It's not just the podcast every single week. It's not just the live stream every single week. There's so much business of esports, and what we're our parent now, Meta TV, a whole bunch of metaverse content, including the Meta Business podcast, which you should go follow, and the Meta Woman podcast, which you should absolutely go follow, who's hosted by our own Lindsay Poss. It's a lot of fun. So make sure to follow us everywhere. We really appreciate it. Yevgen, thank you. Judge Jimmy Barada, thank you as always. And we will see you guys next week.